So welcome back. We're doing all kinds of driving videos lately. Hello everyone. Hope you're having a great day. Really do hope you're having a great day. I'm in between. I'm not having a bad day. It's not a bad day, but it's not a great day. We've come up with a whole bunch of new plans and I don't know how I feel about everything. So that's where we're at. They're thoughts. They're not set in stone by any means, but they're thoughts, okay? So one of the thoughts that we have right now that we're dealing with is, I don't even know how to put this. So let me just blurt it out. Marcy and I are looking at breaking up. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. What we're talking about is actually traveling separately. So she doesn't love the road trip idea. I'm all about the road trip. And she's thinking I could fly to the destination and just meet you there. And it's like, actually, that's not a horrible idea. I mean, it's not my number one choice. It's not my number one idea, but that's not bad. Not bad. So the idea here is that I would be meeting her. Okay, so for example, we're going to go to Savannah, Georgia. Okay, just as an example. So what I'll do is I drive down there. I get to make pit stops along the way. I get to have fun. I get to do my thing. And I get to have a furry co-pilot next to me because I'm not doing this without a co-pilot. Anyway, I get my furry co-pilot next door. Seat next to me gets covered by a furry co-pilot. You know what I'm talking about. I want a little puppy, maybe, but a cat would be awesome. I would love a cat. Anyway, what's going to end up happening is we're thinking that Marcy's going to travel down there at whatever day she wants to travel down there, and I'm going to meet her there. So we'd be talking on the phone every day, all day, every day, doing our thing. She could do some work, and she's got a course that she's got to work on, stuff like that. She'll be doing her thing. She'll be having fun. And then what I'm going to do is going to be totally different, because what I would do is I would actually go out of my way to just drive. I would drive down to wherever it is that we're going, right? Kind of like now, she's driving up there, I'm driving back. We're going to put this in storage. Absolute boo! Boo! I hate putting this thing in storage. That's what you got to do. Anyway, the idea is I would drive down to wherever and I would meet her there. And she would get an Uber to the airport here in Calgary. She would get in the airport. She would fly out to wherever we're going, Savannah, Georgia. We're going out to Mesa, Arizona, like whatever. And she would meet me there. And then what would happen is once we get there, we meet, we have fun, we enjoy, we spend some time together, we enjoy the RV together. She has a place to go to. I have a place to get there with. It'll be great and it'll be wonderful. It'll be all kinds of fun. Let me wave to Marcy. Hello, Marcy. I don't think she sees me at all. Anyway, the idea is we travel down there separately, right? So I do my thing. I do the road trip and I have fun. And then we meet at, say, the Grand Canyon. Or we meet in Arizona. We go to the Grand Canyon. Or we meet in Texas and we tour around in Texas or whatever. Maybe we use the RV to tour around. Maybe we just jump in the car because we're in Arizona. It's like, meh, so it's an hour drive. Who cares? We just zip for the day and whatever. That's one of the things that we're thinking about. So we're thinking about doing that. I am not a giant fan. Let me move this a little bit. There. Now it's out of the way of the seatbelt more because anyway. So what's happening is we're thinking about doing that, about traveling separately like that. And it's not necessarily a bad idea. But here's what we're really thinking is that actually gives us time apart. So I get to do my thing. I get to do the road trips, which I love. And she gets to sit at home, which she actually prefers. So it gives us both what we're looking for. It makes us both happy. But at the same time, it allows us to do things that we actually want to do together, as well as separately. Which is like, okay, it's not a terrible idea. I'm not 100% for it, but I'm not against it either. And the big idea is that we have a neighbor that's having a hard time and she's going to be looking to get rid of her dog soon. And what we would do is we'd take over the dog for her so we could look after the dog. I'm going up a bit of a hill. The engine's making noise. I apologize for the background noise that you might hear. I'm trying to get up to speed. We're almost there. I'm almost at the top of the hill, so almost at speed, almost at the top of the hill. We're still in town, so it's not like I can do 100 in here. So there we go. The engine calmed down a little bit. But anyway, yeah, it's the kind of thing where we're looking at this kind of thing where if I take over the dog and the universe gifts me a puppy, yeah, all right. So I don't have super long days. I drive, I park, I let the dog out, we go for a walk, we scoop and whatever we need to do, scope out an area, go play with the puppy in the bark park. I call it a bark park. I don't know what you call it, but I call it a bark park. It's when you can let the dog park. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. So anyway, go out to the bark park, and I figured puppy can roam around there for a little bit, socialize with some other animals, you know, that kind of thing. Get the bark parks out of the way, and you know, release the voice kind of thing, and you know, just have some fun, that kind of thing, and just really relax, cool, chill, whatever. Thinking about it, neither one of us are sold on the idea, which means it's probably what we're going to end up doing. It's probably a really good idea. I personally want my travel companion. I really do, because I love having Marcy here. Gives me somebody to talk to, and if I'm ticked off, I'm tired, whatever, then I can just go straight to the passenger seat and I'm done. And I've only done that a couple of times where I said, you know what, something's off. I'm not waiting for it to get all the way off. I'm out. And that was the idea behind having an RV where, you know, I got to pee. Pull over the side of the road, I go to the back, or I have a travel companion. It's like, you know what, I could use a snack. She goes to the back, grabs me a snack, comes back up, and we're good to go. That was one of my original ideas, and I absolutely love the idea. However, with a puppy, I can't do that part, but I have a puppy window down there, which is really kind of a cool thing. I have a giant dashboard for the cat to lay on, which would be kind of cool, but I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I can do. I don't know what I should do. I don't know about a lot of things. But the big thing is that this RV, as you can tell, it's really shaking around a lot on these bumpy roads. And it not only does it shake around a lot, it makes a lot of squeaking. I don't know if you can hear that, but it makes a lot of squeaking. And we took one out for a test drive. Took one out for a test drive the other day. It didn't squeak at all. It moved half as much at most. Moved half as much as this thing does. Going over the bumpy roads and stuff. And I was like, you know, that screams Daddy needs a new ride. Whether that happens or not, it's a different story. But that's what it screams. So who knows? Maybe we're going to do that. Maybe we're not. I don't know. I like following her in the Mini because it's the only one on the road that looks like that I've seen. I've seen dozens of Minis all over the place, but I've never seen a Mini that looked quite the same as our Mini or her Mini, really. It's her Mini. It's not mine. And I don't like it very much. It's a tiny little car that I have to, you know, fold myself up to fit inside, and it's crazy. But it's one of those things. Meh. Life unfolds as life unfolds. And this is what we're doing. And this is how we're doing it. So the big thing is, what am I going to do? Do I get a new rig? Do I get a new co-pilot? Does Marcy get a new whatever? She gets to go places, and she gets to be places more than she does now, which is fabulous. But she gets to have that frequent flyer thing that she loves so much. She loves flying. I don't mind flying at all. I kind of like it. I would rather drive around North America and fly all over Europe. I'd rather do that and get to Europe and take the train everywhere. Love that idea. That is brilliant to me. But life is an unusual thing. Okay, so you know, one thing that we could be talking about right now is electrical wants versus needs. Really briefly, because we're driving. So we're going to be generating a ton of electricity for the batteries. The solar is going to be doing great stuff for the batteries as well. And what I'm going to be thinking about here is, what are your wants versus your needs? Now, when you first go to get into a rig, and I don't care if it's a minivan or if it's all the way up to, you know, a class A, whatever it is your electrical needs are, like, do you need to, for me, I don't need to plug in the microphone every day. I plug it in once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, and charge it up, and that's all I need to do. My phone, I got to charge it up every night because I chew through that battery, especially making videos. I chew through my computer once every 2 days, so I got to charge it up every other day. And then I've got, you know, my watch. I got to charge up my watch. You know, there it is. Every night I got to charge my watch, and you know, it's little things like that. Like, we have to do these things all the time. So those are your electrical needs. And you're going to need a little bit of light, but do you need to have a toaster? Do you need to have an induction cooktop? Like, do you need those things? And that's where things get a little bit more tricky, because your wants are, yeah, you're going to want those things, because having an induction cooktop might take a little bit more electricity, and it does. It takes a lot of electricity, but at the same time, it doesn't make your entire machine hot. It's like I turn on the gas burners, and like I gotta crank up the air conditioner to compensate. I gotta open up the vents and turn on some fans, and like I have to do that. So, you know, it's one of those things where I've got to be careful what it is that I'm doing. So what do? You know, is having the air conditioner on, like, you might not have an air conditioner. Most people don't, unless you're in a bigger machine like I am. But if you happen to have an air conditioner, well, then that becomes a need. And the fan, like, does that compensate for having a gas burner versus an induction cooktop? Like, the one's a lot hotter than the other, I gotta tell you. So it makes you wonder as to which one is the better option, which one's the better idea. You know, just little things like that. And I thought I'd throw this at the end of the video. Thought it would be kind of a good thing. Throw it at the end of the video here, chat for 2 minutes, and soak up some of my drive when I'm not doing anything else anyway. Except trying to sail my yacht across the, you know, the friggin' landscape here. But it's one of those things, like, what are your electrical needs? And like, seriously, think about that. What are your electrical needs? You know, people say, well, I can get by with using the solar generator, the Jackery, Blue Eddy, EcoFlow, Vitamin, you know what I'm talking about. You know, you could use something like that. Like, sure, you absolutely can. And it could absolutely fit your needs and your wants, like, absolutely. Or maybe you could get a couple of 100 amp hour batteries, or two 200 amp hour batteries. And like, yeah, they're expensive. They take up a little bit of room, but then all of a sudden, life is better because you have a crap ton of electricity you don't need to worry about anymore. So maybe that's an option for you. And quite frankly, I think that's a great option. My next rig is going to have a crap ton more electricity than this one. I don't care what my next rig is. It's going to have a lot more battery juice than this one. I am hung up on it having more battery juice than this one by far, because it's something that I absolutely need. I think we're almost to where we need to be. I think, yeah. That's what I'm thinking. We're almost to where we need to be, which is, it's just over there. A couple of miles that way. I don't know what really miles are, but half a dozen kilometers away from where I am right now. 2-3 miles, I guess. Anyway, yeah, it's interesting because what your electrical needs are and what you want your electricity needs to be, or what you want your electricity to power, is dramatically different for every situation, in every case, every scenario. So it's one of those things where, yeah, you want to turn on a couple of lights, but do you have a ceiling fan? Do you have one of those fancy ones that Chrome, we know who Chrome is, Van City Van Life, shout out for the win. But with him, he's got these fancy new, and they're not expensive. They are premium price. So what's happening with those is he's got the fan, which is great. It's electric, fantastic. Comes with a remote, even better. Win-win. It's got a light. You know, all those wonderful, wonderful things. That sounds fantastic. But all of that comes at an electrical cost. So do you have the electricity to power that, or are you fighting for electricity? And it's my opinion that get twice what you think you're going to need. If you think you need a 100 amp hour battery, get 2. Or get one 200 amp hour battery. And if you think you need a 200 amp hours, get 4. Then you'll have more than enough. It'll last you days longer than what it would have otherwise. It'll be a good thing for you, and it'll be great, and all kinds of wonderful things. And this video is actually going to take some editing on my part, so that's crazy fun. But the idea here is that, you know, get bigger than you need, because this one's smaller than I need, and it's really ticking me off. I mean, it's really gotten under my skin. Something fierce it's gotten under my skin, because my electrical needs in here are not small. Like, I can't run the 120 or the 120 power, the 110, whatever you want to call it, 110, 120, whatever you want to call it. I can't run that stuff without having a real problem. I gotta wait for some traffic here. I can't run anything. Like, I can't run my 110 without starting the generator or running the engine. I don't have the battery capacity for it. And that's one of the things in my new rig. Whatever my new rig is, I'm gonna wanna make sure that I can correct that problem insta-fast. So it's one of those things, like, does it come with enough batteries to do this? If not, great. Where are the batteries so I can put in more? I apologize for this road. It is a little washboardy, as you can see. But it's one of those things. Put in twice the power that you need. And if we're going to edit this video again. We're going to meet you down at the storage unit. So let's... I was going to do that, you know, just snapping the fingers, like, it's not going to work. But anyway, it's a thing. I see a lot of people do it. You snap the fingers and you're instantly at the next spot. Well, that's not going to work here, but I'll see you at the next spot. So Marcy's just going into the store here for a second, and I got to tell you, the worst thing happened. The worst thing happened. What happened was, I reach up and onto the shelf, and I'm pulling out a 4-foot by 2-foot sheet that we just showed you in the last clip, and I'm pulling that thing out, and Marcy's standing right there. I just told her to move, and she moved back a foot, and it was like, no, I meant move over. And anyway, what ended up happening, I pulled it out. I didn't realize that she was there, and I accidentally bonked her right beside the eye. It was like right here on the cheek. I felt so bad for doing that. And she felt bad that I had hit her, and it was a big thing, and there she is trying not to cry twice. And I'm trying to comfort her, and I feel bad, and she feels bad, and she thought that I was yelling at her, and I wasn't yelling. I was not yelling. But she felt like I was upset with her because she didn't move the right way, and that was all her fault. And it was like, well, no, it is your fault for not moving. It is. It's also my fault for not looking at my surroundings and making sure she wasn't in the way. I tell you, I pulled out 3 or 4 more sheets, same thing, pulled them 3 or 4 more out. I stopped and I looked, and she would just back up. And I was like, go to the side. But anyway, I finally got her to go to the side a little bit, which was completely out of the way. But every once in a while, she'd just back up a little bit further. And I was like, no, I got to pull this whole sheet out. And like, it was a whole thing. But anyway, I was upset with her. She was upset with me. We're upset with each other. And it was crazy, stupid nonsense. And well, we did get the board, and it's going to be fabulous. So the big thing is you come to Home Depot, so you can pick up one of these, which is a huge 4x8 sheet. 4x8. What am I talking about here? It's a 4x2, 4 foot by 2 foot. And the idea is, when you're doing the van life thing, you don't want to put stickers all over your rig like somebody that is behind the camera doesn't want to do. What you do is you can put your stickers all over here, and then you can decorate it for a really long time. And when you're done decorating that side, there's a whole other side. So you can decorate that one too. Right, Marcy?
Yep.
I think it's a great idea. Lots of fun. And you can make fun sounds. Anyway. Somebody done gone been to the rodeo. I got a hat. It's got a little Calgary. Where'd it go? It's got a Calgary Stampede thing on there. I put the RVdreamz on the front and Calgary Stampede stuff going on there. Anyway, throw that out there for next year. We're not using it again. Thank goodness for a good year. Anyway, what we're dealing with right now is we just finished the last video. I'm burnt. I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed shortly. It's still light out, but I am dog tired. So we're going to go to bed. we had a great video. It was a lot of fun. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like the videos, because that means a lot to me, and it means a lot to the algorithm. The algorithm sees that people are paying attention, so it really makes a difference. If you haven't subscribed yet, I ask that you please do. It makes a huge difference. If you'd be so kind as to drop me a comment below, please no hate, but I get it. I bonked Marcy accidentally, and it was as much her fault as it was mine. It's as much my fault as it was hers, however you want to put it. We're both at fault. We both felt stupid. Next time she's going to move to the side instead of moving back. So when I go to pull out a 4-foot sheet, she's not right here. She's over there where it's safe. And like, stupid nonsense. I have had the hair of a disgruntled teenager all day because this hat is kind of plasticky. So it's like, it's not the greatest hat, but it's a white hat for my photo company, White Hat Productions. So it's kind of it's a whole thing. Anyway, we're going to be getting better hats for next year. This year, however, I'm just going to fight with this hat for a minute, if you don't mind. Holy jumping. Okay, so I got somebody whippersnipping back there, and it's distracting. Anyway, it's been great having you here. I appreciate it. Do me a giant favor. Seriously, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop us a comment. Let me know how we're doing. Are we doing okay? Are we entertaining? Are you having fun? That kind of thing. If it's not cool, let me know what you'd like to see. And if it is cool and you do like it, great. Let me know so I know that I'm on the right track. Anyway, I'm off. I've got a little bit of editing to do. Using the big boy today, and now I have some editing to get done and zero motivation. So I'll see you again in the next one. Don't be the village idiot. We already have one. Take care. Talk to you next time.